How did the build go?
So Barl was saying it was 1 step forward, 2 steps back. You would start, you would do good, and then you realized that you needed to go back because you screwed up somewhere. The build itself, like I said, it was 1 step forward, 2 steps back. But kind of once you figured out, okay, this is what this screw size looks like, this is what this screw size is stuff, then it's kind of started going a little bit faster.
So
was great quality of parts. The shocks, unbelievably smooth.
these are the looks like those coated shocks. I don't know.
Yes, the part size on the instructions, it tells you screws and everything that you know what you're going to be using. It's exactly what size it was. So like if it was
screw size was a 1-to-1 scale.
1-to-1 scale. Once the car was put together, it was. I mean, like, look at the steering. You can barely touch it, and it just keeps sliding. It'll slide back and forth effortlessly. I tried to touch it with my B5M, and it didn't do that. Another thing that makes this car so cool is the fact that it includes the 3 and 4 gear laydown, the 3 and 4 gear stand up, and for you to mount it on the outside.
So rear mounted, wow.
All of that included in one box.
That's pretty cool.
The only thing, I wouldn't say it's really much of a complaint, because once you pick a transmission, that's the gears that you use.
The one thing I learned from just driving a lot at our track is that it's just nice to have tuning parts on hand. Like many times I wish I had like a heavier front bulkhead, like the brass bulkhead, or different suspension arms. Suspension arms or sway bars or springs or something. So just having those on hand, if you start driving more, you'll see it's going to be nice.
And the cool thing is with this, it also includes different shock towers for you to use the mid motor. There's different shock tower here. There's ones for if you're using the stand up, the 3 or 4 gear. It's still in the mid motor, but you know, the 3 or 4 gear, like what the B5M was, and a totally different one if you're doing the rear motor one. So I have 2 other shock towers out there with 3 other transmission cases with still gears and bearings for those as well. So the only thing that you really have to transfer out is just the idler gear, not the idler, the input and the ball bit. Those are the only 2 you'd have to take out to put into to change it all up. Which is another nice thing. Once this was put together, it's maybe 5 screws to take this whole transmission out.
That's awesome. Oh, look at that. When did that happen? It's like I burned my chassis or something. I poured some gas on my chassis, guys, and just
8 screws. And the whole transmission comes out. The cons, there were too many bags open at once. Kind of like what I said in the beginning.
Okay.
Way too many bags open, way too many different things that you had to sift through in order for you to find the right part, make sure it is the right part, then size it up, and then put it in the car. That was a headache. You could ask Amy. I wasn't swearing, but I was...
Because the small bags aren't labeled.
Exactly.
Okay.
Some of the steps were a bit confusing. Okay. It was like, these Kyosho instructions, what they like to do is they'll have a screw coming up, but then they'll do like a dotted line off of it that says it goes through this, that comes back and goes through that, and then it goes through this here, and you're just like, that like second or third thing that it's going through, you haven't gotten to that step yet. So you're like, where's this part? And for being a pro car, there needs to be no use of bushings whatsoever. This uses bushings.
And bushings. So people watching this, they're gonna want to know where the bushings. So where the bushings at?
The bushings, another stupid part. A lot are in the transmission. There's bearings in there, but there's also bushings.